So here's the portrait that I'm putting together. And you'll notice that I found a black and white image, and it's a picture of Salvador Dali. All right, and I want to illustrate him. And I want to illustrate him following some of the strategies that we've talked about in class. So you'll notice that I placed the image as a template, and I named the layer reference image. Okay, and then I made a new layer, and I called it outline. Do you see that? It's called outline, right? And on the outline layer, I drew lines to capture the contours and edges around his face. Okay, so I'm going to do a demonstration today just to get you started if you want to start doing this. But I'm going to do more demonstrations with greater complexity when we come back next week, okay? But if you want to get started, this is what you might want to do. So if I was starting from scratch, I'd make an outline layer. Okay, and then I'd go to my pencil tool. I like to illustrate with a pencil tool a lot because I think it's really fast and really efficient. And I'm going to illustrate with a red stroke. Okay, and I'm going to look for the edges of objects, or in this case they're not objects, they're edges of values. I'm looking for the edges of values. So this is an edge of a value. There's one value here, and there's another value on this side. So I'm going to draw where that edge is at. Does that make sense? I see another value here along the nose, real dark shadow. I'm going to draw an edge around that. Okay? You'll notice that there are more subtle value changes. For example, look at this spot right here. Doesn't it look like a darker gray than this? Well, I'm going to draw a line where those two values meet. So my goal here is to draw between all of the values and where they meet. Okay, so let me show you an example of that. So I'm going to go to the pencil tool, and I'm going to draw the edge of the nose, where the shadow is at in this spot. Okay? All right? I drew one line. I'm going to pick up, check out right here. There's a little dimple in his nose, the indentation. So there's a darker value here and a lighter value there. So I'm going to capture that edge. I'm going to capture this edge. Right? I can see that there's a gray line right here and a gray patch and a brighter patch. I'm going to capture the edge of this value. All right, and there's another value here. So I'm sort of talking my way through this so you can see or hear what I'm thinking, see what I'm drawing, and hear what I'm thinking. All right, so some of these are really obvious. For example, if I wanted to do his eyebrow, I would just draw this eyebrow. I think that maybe my smooth is too high, so it's correcting my line a little bit too much. I should probably go in and make it more accurate. Let's see what it looks like when I'm done. All right, there's a different value here. Line there. So I'm just capturing the edges. Ooh, I don't like the way that turned out. Let me, I'm going to make this more accurate. So I'm going from here to here, making it more accurate. All right, let me try to draw that again. Okay, that's better. So my object here, my goal, is to look for all the value changes in the portrait and capture those with a red line. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's say I spend 20 minutes, a half hour. This is what it should look like. Something like this. Okay? So if I spend like 20 minutes or a half hour, this is what it should look like. If I turn off my reference image, you'll see this is my network. Okay? So is this organic or is this expressive geometry? This is organic. What if I wanted to do expressive geometry? What would I do there? Well, maybe what I would have done was worked with my pen tool. So this is a different tool. We saw this earlier, pen tool. And if you want to use the pen tool, this is really important. You want to have this checked. This should be checked. It says disable auto add and delete. That's the preferences under general. So make sure this is checked. Okay. Right. So I'm going to do some poly art. Okay. So there's loose poly art where I could just do this. Okay. First shape done. Right. I could do that. Or I could do really accurate poly art. I'll do some really accurate poly art. Now this can get pretty obsessive. You know what I mean? Like I could make a bunch of triangles here. To capture this shape. So it just depends on how far you want to push this. But all of the portraits that I shared with you, all of the examples that I gave you, those were all created with a red line to start off with. Okay, so you know I have the ability to make a choice about how I want to draw this. And I can draw this with a poly art style, or I can draw this with an organic line. So if you want to start the project, you'll notice that it's very similar to the cartoon, except in the cartoon we drew the outside. In this we're drawing the outside and the inside shapes as well. And it's up to you to decide how that's done. Now, I want to revisit, I still have you for 3 more minutes. Officially I have you for 3 more minutes, so I want to revisit one last thing. I'm trying to put this all together, okay? That's what I'm trying to give you this information. Remember, I gave you a document today called Illustration Steps Basic. This will walk you through how to prepare your file, how to place your reference image, and how to start tracing around your object. So if you finish your cartoon homework and you feel good about that, you can start working on your project 1, maybe trying to work between steps 1 through 8. Okay? When we come back, I'm going to do this all over again. I'm going to do this formally, and I'm also going to go into Live Paint. So we're going to see how all of this that we've been discussing is going to help me construct my project 1. So any questions or concerns before we break? I'm going to give you a copy of that file that I just showed you, my Dolly file with the red line work. I'm going to give you a copy so you guys can open it and see it, think about how I put it together, okay? Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great evening.